Anime. Anime is weird. And that's putting it lightly, considering what's out there. I have a strange relationship with anime. There are times that I think it's the stupidest thing to ever exist, ever. And then there are times I am moved to the point of actual, real tears. In fact, back when they announced an anime adaptation for That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, the idea seemed so incoherently inane that I almost graduated from the medium entirely. I must have a severe problem judging books by their key visuals, as that series ended up becoming one of my favorite isekai titles of all time, a fact that might not mean too much considering its contemporaries, but take my word as gospel when I say I am very glad I decided not to abandon anime. I have, however, accepted the reality that there is simply too much anime. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of anime titles sitting on my hypothetical watch list, waiting patiently for the day that I stop being lazy and watch them. But who wants to bet that most of those titles will remain unfinished, even as I shift from this mortal coil? In this episode of Anime Ambush, we'll be taking a look at some of my favorite anime that most of y'all might have overlooked. These shows might have had a small following when they aired, but the conversation has largely moved on, and I find that to be extremely sad and probably illegal. It might not need saying, but considering Shaft is one of my favorite anime studios, you could say I enjoy a little-known anime by the name of Puella Magi Madoka Magica. It took the tried and true magical girl formula canonized by titles like Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura and turned it on its head by injecting an unhealthy dose of nihilism, cynicism, and consequences. It could be a hot take, but as much as I revel in the eternal conflict between magical girls and witches, there's a series that does it leagues better in my humble, objective opinion. Yuki Yuna is a Hero follows the Sanshu Middle School Hero Club made up of the heroic Yuki Yuna, her best friend Mimori Togo, and sisters Fu and Itsuki Inubazaki. In a flash, the Hero Club is transported to a mysterious forest where they must transform into magical girls and do battle with the antagonistic Vertexes who want nothing more than to destroy the guardian deity, the Shinju. It might sound significantly different than Madoka, and for the most part it is, until about halfway through the first season, when it's revealed that there are major consequences for the girl's transformation. I want to be explicitly clear, I don't mean to suggest that Madoka is a bad anime, quite the opposite. I hear so many people lauding Madoka as the supreme overlord of the dark magical girl genre, while it seems next to no one ever acknowledges the excellence that is Yuki Yuna. If you're interested in checking this one out, the entire series, including the currently airing third season, is available on HiDive. Imagine for a moment a city made up almost entirely of criminals. Hitmen, traffickers, hackers, revengers, and detectives, apparently. In the immoral city of Fukuoka, Zenji Banba runs a detective agency on his own. But a chance encounter with his own would-be assassin, a crossdresser named Lin, changes everything. Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens is the product of a cross between the raw aesthetic of Cowboy Bebop and URAHARA with the wackiness of Blood Blockade Battlefront. It's a stylistic and gritty crime drama that seems to have faded from the general discourse, which is unfortunate because the light novels probably have enough content for a second or third season. If this one sounds familiar, I mentioned its OP in my Top 5 Winter 2018 Anime OPs video. It's one of those anime that were blessed with not only a great story and opening sequence, but its ED is also pure, unadulterated fire as well, which is one more thing it shares with Blood Blockade Battlefront. I swear, there's a whole fan base for that ED. As I said, Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens could have used a second season, but taking into account it hasn't even hit 75,000 hits on MAL, it likely won't be getting one. I guess that's fine. It's not as if it ended on a cliffhanger or anything, but let's just say if they were to announce a second season, I would be down for more shenanigans in Fukuoka. If you enjoy anime where practically every character is so bad they're good, give Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens a watch on Crunchyroll or Funimation. I think idol anime are one of the last vestiges of surprise in the medium. For example, take a look back at Zombieland Saga and how literally no one knew it would be an idol anime until it started airing. Or Hypnosis Mic Division Rap Battle, which features groups of Bishonen fighting crime with the power of their sick flow. Or If My Favorite Pop Idol Made It to the Budokan I Would Die, which follows not only the idols, but also the stans who support them with every fiber of their being. In this series, which I refuse to call by its full name again because if I did, this segment would be a lot longer than it has any right to be, we follow, in part, the stans of an indie idol group called Cham Jam in addition to the idols themselves. Eripio, Kumasa, and Motoi spend all of their money and time supporting their respective favorites in the group, which leads to all kinds of ridiculous antics that make this series one that you don't want to sleep on. If My Favorite Pop Idol Made It to the Budokan I Would Die aired during the winter of our discontent, right as the no-no plague was getting started, and it was one of the only things I can say helped keep me sane alongside my daily sessions in Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you'd like to join the stands as we desperately hope for a second season, you can watch this one over on Funimation. If there's one anime y'all haven't seen out of today's bunch, I am willing to bet it's this one. It's also one of the most contentious picks on this list, sitting at a 5.77 on MAL with only 5,789 ratings as of writing. It's a subversive and tonally inconsistent Mahou Shoujo series that, as it crept towards its conclusion, had me comparing it to the likes of Neon Genesis Evangelion and how it handled the darker elements of its narrative, and it goes by the name of URAHARA. I recall seeing arguments when it aired that the unique art style and pastel light colors gave some people headaches, which I can definitely appreciate as a valid complaint, but to me, both of these visual elements made URAHARA stand out as a brilliantly original concept that hasn't been treated well with the passage of time. In this series, a trio of high school girls work at their very own pop-up shop in Japan's Harajuku district, when an alien invasion forces them to defend the rich and vibrant culture they love so much from those who'd wish to steal it. It gets weirder from there, as when the aliens are defeated, they transform into candy. And then the girls eat the candy, meaning, in a way, they're consuming the remains of their enemies, which is honestly one of the most metal things I have ever heard in the synopsis of an anime, and I've watched Love Live. If you'd like to give URAHARA a fair shake, the original subbed release and its dub can be found exclusively on Crunchyroll. It seems the dub was produced by Funimation, but it was likely a casualty of the situation between the two platforms that only just got resolved, if you would call that a resolution. I was skeptical when I first started Katana Maidens. It reminded me of the earliest arcs of Bleach, what with the society of highly skilled warriors trained to vanquish a species of hostile creatures in an effort to protect the general populace, but thankfully any doubts I may have had were ironed out with the first half, which tells a sort of buddy fugitive story rather than diving into exposition from the start. It would have been so easy for this one to get distracted by its own world building and lore, in much the same way that Beyond the Boundary did, but thankfully, Katana Maidens jumps right into the action, and if I recall correctly, it doesn't spend a whole lot of time mindlessly vomiting plot salad. I want to say it was around the second or third episode that I decided I would be watching this one to completion, and I don't regret that decision one bit. It's a genuinely fascinating series with a hint of Yuri in addition to the cute girls killing giant monsters trope, which it balances remarkably well. If you'd like to give Katana Maidens a shot, it's currently available via Crunchyroll, though, like in the case of URAHARA, it looks like it used to be on Funimation as well. Thank you for watching this episode of Anime Ambush. I know you could have watched any video about underrated anime today, and I am ecstatic that you've chosen mine. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, please consider subscribing, liking this video, or sharing with your friends. Or if you'd like to support my creative endeavors, get early access, and get your name in the credits all at once, you can become a patron by clicking the link in the description. Until next time, this has been Pixcelation, reminding each and every one of you to stay pixelated.